welcome to Jayanandini Tele Bangla channel. We have a guest today, a very distinguished guest, a teacher, a journalist, and we are going to talk on various topics as we do usually. So let me introduce Mr. Mahfuz Hasib Chowdhury. Very interesting name, Mr. Mahfuz.
Yes.
Mahfuz Hasib Chowdhury.
Thank you, sir.
As I said, he is a journalist, he is a teacher and a mentor of young people. So let's hear a little bit about his academic career. Which institution you went to? So please, Mahfuz.
Thank you, sir. First, I'd like to actually admire and express my heartfelt gratitude to the organizer or to the hosts of this event for inviting me to this prestigious program. Well, you have already told my name, and actually my students and my colleagues, they know me as Mahfuz. I did my honors and masters, bachelor honors and masters in English literature from University of Chittagong. And then I did my second master's in comparative linguistics from Moscow State University. So this is in a nutshell if I say about my academic career. And after coming back home, I was in Europe for 4 years. After completing my studies, I also did a job in Europe which involved 3 cities, a tale of 3 cities, like a tale of 2 cities, that is Moscow, Berlin, and Stuttgart. I worked there for roughly 4 years. And then I came back home and I joined teaching. I took classes on English language and literature in University of Asia Pacific first. And then I joined Metropolitan University, Sylhet. There also I taught for several years English language and literature. And besides my university teaching career, I also taught in a few English medium schools in Dhaka. Okay, so in total, actually, I spent 14 years, 1-4. I spent 14 years in teaching, and last 10 years I've been working as a journalist.
Okay, let me interrupt here. People go to Europe, and you are coming back from Europe. Why this? There's a brain drain, which we know, but here is a reverse brain drain or something. What made you come back to Bangladesh, where to find jobs difficult, and salary and job, there is no job satisfaction mostly. What made you come back from Europe?
Okay, I've been to a number of European countries, like I told you, Russia, Finland, Belgium, Germany, etc. Okay, yeah, those countries are certainly very beautiful countries, prosperous countries. Okay, but I didn't find anything so exclusive that I have to break off with my roots and stay back in an alien country. Actually, nothing so special. Okay, so there is a saying which William Shakespeare said in The Merchant of Venice: all that glitters is not gold. Okay, those countries are certainly beautiful, certainly very much they explore potentialities of young people. Okay, but there are a few trouble. Okay, number one, number one is those countries are very much inflicted with racism. In Russia and in Germany, this is a very big problem. Okay, racist, behavior, not just violence, but also in workplaces, in airports. Okay, this thing can be felt. We get to see these things, that how racist approach is being upheld towards me. So this one thing, I found rather unpalatable while I was in Europe. Number one. And number two, in Europe, well, since I am from literature background, I studied diaspora, I studied Latin American literature, I studied also Caribbean literature. Okay, so one particular Caribbean poet who was also a Nobel Prize winner, Derek Walcott. Okay, he was in the United States for many years, but later on he went back to St. Lucia, his own Caribbean country. And he was asked the same question, that why did you come back from the United States to a least developed, underdeveloped country like St. Lucia? He said that as long as I was in America, people used to tell me, in my country, people used to tell me that I don't love them, that's why I have gone to USA. But back in America, they call me black. Okay, so I'm divided to the vein. So that is what he said. So same thing happened to me. I felt I was divided to the vein. That I'm neither a Belgian nor a Russian nor a Bangladeshi. So I should be either a frog or a fish. Okay, so I would like to conclude, with the word that I started off my answer, that I didn't see anything so outstanding in Europe for which, I could, break away totally from my family, from my friends. So I found it a better option to come back home and to pursue my livelihood.
Gotcha. Very interesting observation, and your that means to some extent you missed your family, like parents and brothers, sisters.
While I was in Europe.
Well, you were in Europe.
Yes, yeah, I miss my parents very much. I particularly missed my hometown, which is Sylhet. I missed it very much. But this is something that if I can self-eulogy, that admiring myself, I'm very good at making friends. So when I was in Russia and in Germany, I made a lot of friends who are from Spain, from Latin America, and also from Middle East. Okay, so we were so intimate with one another. My friends never allowed me to feel homesick. So I'm really grateful to them. And now, by virtue of social network, I'm still in touch with all those friends. Yeah.
Okay. So this is very interesting, your observation, and I know many young graduates like you who come back finally. Not many, but I've met some who finally go to government jobs through sitting for the examinations, like
Civil service business exams,
like BCS and that. Did you ever think of
yes, in my
trying
family,
that?
most of the people are actually government officials. In my family, almost everyone, are actually from business background. They're either in admin or in police service, or I also have, a few very close family members who are working for foreign service. Okay, one thing. So, when I was on the verge of completing my graduation from Chittagong University, I had that fantasy that I should also, I think, sit for business exams. Anyway, but then, I somehow leaning for writing articles. It came on to me. I started writing for English newspapers and magazines from 1996, and my first English article appeared in Daily Independent, which was at the time very influential newspaper. Okay, so when I had so much delight and excitement in having my articles published in Dhaka Courier, in Independent, in New Age. Okay, so then I came to say that if I join a government job, there will be so much restrictions on me, confinement, so I'll not be able to pursue my passion in writing. So actually, for this is one of the reasons. There are other few reasons, but I've told you the principal one.
I remember when I was in the Daily Star, you used to write a lot of book reviews.
Yes, sir. Right.
I mean, that's your passion also, writing book reviews.
Yeah, but writing book reviews and literary articles.
Literary articles, yes.
Yes, I've so far written over 300 articles, over 300 English articles, and those are all about literature and book reviews. I actually, it never, happened to me that I should write about Gaddafi, or I should write about Nicolas Maduro. I mean, foreign affairs or domestic politics. These things actually don't seem to be so interesting to me. So I still, stick with my, writing, with the focus mainly spotlighted on literature, global literature, English literature, French literature, South American literature, etc. And besides newspaper articles, English newspaper articles, I have also 12 journal publications, 12 research papers which were published in different scholarly journals.
I see. Okay. So that's why, I mean, a lot of, I have this question in mind that in this era of aviation technology, information technology, MBA, space science, why did you pursue English literature? I mean, what is the job prospect or employment opportunity you find in this?
Okay, so there is one small event that I must describe, in very brief, since we are short of time here. While I was pursuing my higher secondary education in school, sorry, in college, okay, we had in our syllabus a short story, A Mother in Manville. A Mother in
Yes,
Manville, okay.
read it. Huh?
That short story totally pulled me in love with English literature then. And then, at that time, I had a cousin who is now is a retired military officer. He used to gift me Wuthering Heights, A Tale of Two Cities, then Anna
Well,
Karenina, these classics while I was in class 12. Okay. So by reading these books, I developed a dream, a desperate dream that I must study English literature. Okay, and when I was so tensed, after appearing for the admission test in University of Chittagong and Shahnoor University, that if I don't qualify in English literature, my God, I actually can't, I won't be able to stand this tragedy. Okay, but I qualified for English literature in University of Chittagong, and I qualified for economics in Shahnoor University, but I joined Chittagong University because my dream came true.
Yes, there's a second largest university in the country after
Yes,
Dhaka
University of Chittagong, right?
Chittagong. Yes. What do you think that studying English literature makes a person better in his, what should I say, in his thinking, in his meeting the world challenges, everything? Does literature have a influence on a person? Like, if you think of yourself.
Okay. Well, in this regard, first I'd like to quote a few words from former U.S. President John F. Kennedy. He said, "When power corrupts, poetry cleanses." So these words influenced me profoundly. Okay, that power can give us money, power can give us influence and whatnot. Okay, but on the other hand, at the end of the day, actually, we all are human beings. We need love, we need honor, we need unity, we need fraternity. Okay, these things actually don't all the time come with power, because another thing which famous Bangladeshi author Humayun Ahmed, he once wrote in one of his autobiographies that power, it isolates human beings from his fellow people. Okay, so power has this thing that power makes people isolated. Okay, so but poetry on the other hand, if I can recite a poem, I will have at least 5 audiences in front of me. Okay, and on the other hand, the literary figures that you find in poems and also in books, in novels, like Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment, Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights, Jules Verne in A Tale of Two Cities, those things, they often appear in my dream, and as you said, I used to write a lot of articles and reviews for Daily Star. So, this is, I think, people who are not, who did not study literature and who are pursuing their jobs on other tracks, like, physicians, like architects, like diplomats. I think they all, should be subjected to study art and literature to develop a sense of humanity, to develop a sense of softness of heart in their minds.
Would you suggest this for the corrupt and uncouth politicians all over the world to study literature so that they become better administrators, better human beings?
Okay, life has no point of no return. Actually, doesn't exist in life, in my view. If a politician is too corrupt, okay, still, doors are open for him to come back to goodness, to come back to morality, to come back to ethical uprightness. Okay, so actually, one of the most vital things that literature teaches us is never to lose hope. Never to lose hope. Okay. So a corrupt politician or a corrupt state leader, if he's enlightened, if he goes through literature, certainly it will have some effect on him, and his mindset might be changed. He might be changed. We all know about Jean-Paul Sartre. Okay, he was awarded Nobel Prize, but he declined to accept the award. Why? Because it was just at the end of World War II. and he said that, to quote him exactly, that that a field cluttered with ashes and bones and skulls, I can't afford to receive this laurel from anyone's hands. So he denied to take Nobel Prize. So you see, a Nobel Prize, which is the most precious and most honorable award in the world, people have the courage. A writer has the guts to say no to it. So this is the power of literature. This is the power of intellect.
Maybe since he himself was a novelist.
Yes, he himself was an author, okay.
Author.
But he saw the disgrace, the horrors of war, okay. And what happened to Adolf Hitler? He finally killed himself because he also came to know that what he has done was all destruction and inhuman, ruthless things. And if he is alive, his opponents are not going to spare him. So instead of being humiliated at the hands of his enemies, he preferred to, kill himself.
Kill himself. Yeah, maybe the British Prime Minister of the Second World War, he should have studied literature. He was also very cruel.
Winston Churchill. He was awarded Nobel Prize. He was awarded Nobel Prize.
But he didn't refuse to take it.
No, he took it, right. He received it. Yes, and his biography is also very interesting. Winston Churchill's biography is also very interesting. And another person who is not exactly an author, who is a politician, Nancy Reagan, former U.S. President, Ronald Reagan's wife. Nancy Reagan's autobiographic books. She has 2 autobiographic books, which I think are must read for politicians, for the growth of humanitarian feelings in their minds.
Okay, very good. Very good suggestion. Mr. Chowdhury, it was wonderful talking with you. Very briefly, we talked today. Maybe we'll invite you once again to talk more in details, in elaborate discussion. And so for today, we thank you for coming and giving us your time. And it was very interesting to listen to you. We hope to listen to you more in future. So
thank you so much. I'm also feeling very much honored that you have took the time to invite me over here and allowed me to speak for a while on the subject that I love most.
Yes, that's why I invited you. Okay, thank you, audience. We hope to meet again very soon.